Air Blast. That's into Shadow Shield, so the next one should KO. GG. It's October when this goes up anyway, and last October I did a little special on this channel that I called Ghost Month, where every week I built a team around at least one ghost-type Pokemon. I just picked some ghosts that were of interest to me in the format, gave the teams a try, and, well, one of them in particular turned out pretty well, but I think there were multiple fun videos in there. So I decided to bring it back this year and do Ghost Month once again. Last year I think I did it on Thursdays, and I think the last one was on Halloween Day specifically, but this year I have a series on Thursdays already, and Halloween is on a Friday, but I also have a series on Fridays already. I'm going to put it up on Wednesdays because that day is free. That means we're starting on the very 1st of October and ending a couple days before Halloween. And once again, there will be 5 of these videos in total. So, last year I did this in Regulation H. This year, I'm not running that back. I am making the jump to Regulation J, and I have picked 5 ghost-type team concepts to build. Sometimes I've just picked the ghost, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I have 5 ideas. We're going to escalate. We're going to start with an ordinary Pokemon and work our way up to the big-name legendaries and whatnot. I'm going to try to minimize overlap with VGC Legends, the series where I spin a wheel and get a random legendary or mythical Pokemon and build around it. There are quite a few ghost-type legendaries and mythicals that have featured already in that series, but I found some ways to do something a little bit different, or, you know, show them in a way that I didn't before. But we are going to start with an ordinary Pokemon. I wasn't originally planning to start with Gengar because it's my favorite Pokemon, but there's so many interesting options for this year's Ghost Month that Gengar ended up getting squeezed out. We're actually going to start with Drifblim. Drifblim is a very unique and interesting Pokemon. It can play a support role in a number of ways that nothing else can really replicate. And even when I'm looking to build around the big name ghost types, the big powerful legendaries, like when I built a mono ghost team in the Sword and Shield unlimited restricted format and was just spamming legendaries and whatnot, Drifblim has a knack for showing up because it's just such a unique and interesting support Pokemon. So anyway, here's the team that I've built for this week. Maybe I should hop back on the Rapidash Reservoir ult for this one, because I have minimized strats on the brain, and that is what we're going with here. I've also lost once or twice to minimize Drifblim on the ladder, so it's something I pretty strongly associate with that Pokemon now. And it's a very simple team concept. Oh, I didn't think about Drifblim's Terra type. I don't really think it matters. I should probably make it dark, so it can't be priority taunted. Hang on. I have already fixed Zamazenta's Terra type. I had forgotten to change it here, but it's Dragon now. But very simple concept. We're going to set up Unburdened Drifblim with our friend Indeedee here. We're looking to set up a Minimize or two and pass those to Lugia or Zamazenta, but more likely Lugia. Indeedee is probably just an early game sack. I have put Heal Pulse on it just in case it gets positioned next to Lugia at any point, but I don't think that's very likely. Drifblim Will-O-Wisp can mitigate physical attackers that might otherwise threaten Lugia, while Lugia sets up Calm Mind. A special defense boost from the Psychic Seed is a nice bonus too, but really I was just using that to activate Unburden. Get Minimized, pass the evasiveness to Lugia. Lugia, of course, extremely bulky Calm Mind setup Pokemon. Maybe I should consider Terra Dark on that as well, but right now I have Terra Electric because it resists Zamazenta Heavy Slam while not opening up much in terms of other weaknesses, and in particular not a weakness to opposing Miraidon. I had Water penciled in originally, but that's very weak to Miraidon. I thought about Fire, but that just has a lot of weaknesses. Electric does not have a lot of weaknesses. I'm kind of taking inspiration from the Terra Electric Blood Moon Ursaluna that won the Frankfurt Regional, because it's just not a type that opens up a lot of weaknesses, and the Steel Resist comes in handy when I'm relying on Minimize. It does make this Lugia pretty weak to Groudon, but I'm kind of just counting on there not being a lot of Groudon on the ladder. That ought to work out, right? Otherwise, pretty typical Calm Mind Lugia stuff. Zamazenta is here to help fend off dark types that might scare Lugia if I don't get to Terrasilize Lugia. It's also a pretty reasonable Minimize recipient, but I'd rather give them to Lugia. It's kind of an added plus that I get to use the mascot of my first Pokemon game here. I always enjoy a chance to use Lugia. Rillaboom sets up the grassy terrain, giving Lugia a little bit of passive recovery. It means I do have double terrain on this team, but they have very specific functions in the game, right? Psychic terrain is really just something I want early on to activate the Psychic Seed on Drifblim, and then I have Indeedee clicking Follow Me, and then Grassy Terrain is probably all I need later on, if I even bring Rillaboom to a game, which, I mean, I think it's more likely almost always that I bring the first 4 Pokemon. But if I bring the 6th Pokemon, I had a few thoughts about what to put in that slot. I considered a couple of fire types to threaten opposing Zamazenta, like Volcarona or Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon. But I'm just going to take inspiration from another past video. Going to bring a friend from one of the VGC 2018 sample teams that I tried out back in the summer. Choice Scarf Smeargle. And I've just picked some moves that I thought would be handy here. It can Spore opposing Zamazenta or whatever the threat is, as long as Electric Terrain is not up. That's probably the main thing it wants to click. I have Transform so that Smeargle can yoink a Restricted and actually attack with that Choice Scarf if it wants to. And then I figured Jungle Healing is nice for helping to keep Lugia healthy. And Spite is too, in a different way, in that getting rid of the opponent's PP really mitigates the opportunities that they have to hit through the minimized boosts. But most likely I don't bring Smeargle to games, and if I do, most likely it just clicks Spore. So that's the team. It's a little bit evil. Like I said, maybe I should go undercover again for this one, but I don't think I'm going to, because this is the kind of thing that I like about the Ghost types. I often say that Ghost is my favorite type. I don't know that I often say why. One of the reasons, and it's not the only one, is that I like how sort of devious and tricky they are. When I was first getting into the concept of competitive Pokemon, back when Generation 3 was current gen, I was really drawn to Gengar partly because it had a very wide move pool with a lot of unpredictable options that could be very disruptive into the opponent, including luck-based effects that could cheese a person now and then. And so, kind of staying true to the core of what I like about this type, starting things off with minimized Drifblim. There will be other Ghost types that play in different ways later in this series. For now, let's hop on the Regulation J ladder and let's see what Drifblim can do. Okay, we get Ninetales, Alolan form. We get Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon, Origin Dialga, Miraidon, Iron Bundle, and Ursaluna. Origin, I was gonna say Origin Iron Bundle. Origin form Iron Bundle is actually a bit of an issue because it can slow Drifblim down if it connects. But I can take away its terrain at least turn 1, right? If they lead Miraidon, then I get terrain control with Indeedee. I definitely am just going to do the basic plan here. My opponent DC'd. I definitely am just going to do the basic plan here if they come back. So it's going to be Drifblim, Indeedee, Lugia, and then probably just Zamazenta. I could bring Rillaboom. Rillaboom is not that good into a lot of their Pokemon. I'm going to bring Zamazenta. They reconnected. Bundle, Ogerpon. They can switch Miraidon in and get terrain now. But I have boosted special defense on Drifblim. And, you know, they have to actually hit. If it's Taunt Ogerpon, that's actually a big problem. Except that I can redirect it here. So that's nice. Icy Wind. Maybe I just pass the 1 minimize to Lugia this game. I don't know. I mean, Bundle's not threatening a KO right now unless it crits. It might not even connect with the next Icy Wind. Indeedee is about to drop in 1 more turn though. I don't know if it's best to click another minimize here or click Baton Pass. I say we go for the cheese. Let's go for the second minimize. If it's greedy. Oh, do they have Blizzard? Oh, they might have Blizzard. It's yeah. Okay, that was greedy of me. That Blizzard will never miss. Okay. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. I didn't even think about what the Ninetales could do. Is it Sash Bundle? I might have an out if it's not Sash Bundle. Oh, wait. Bundle survives this, but actually I have Wide Guard. So I can probably still get the Baton Pass off, but it's not guaranteed. I'm going to click Wide Guard here, deny a Blizzard. If they don't click Blizzard, they can always miss their attack. They do Blizzard with that. We get the Baton Pass into Lugia. Okay. Just barely, but we managed it. They still will not miss a Blizzard, obviously. But actually, I can Terra Electric here. Aeroblast the Bundle, and Wide Guard 1 more time. And if Bundle goes down, it doesn't look like the Ninetales has Blizzard. Okay, let's switch to Dialga. They disable the Wide Guard. Makes sense. Now they can get Bundle back in and click Blizzard, but Lugia is not weak to it anymore. I'll just start setting up calm mines. And since Zamazenta can't wide guard, I guess it might as well attack. Go for a heavy slam into this Ninetales. They encore. Okay. Zamazenta will be struggling. Actually, that's really bad, right? Because I have to beat the Ninetales somehow. I'm going to protect Lugia this turn, and I'm looking to sack Drifblim to get Zamazenta back in. Actually, I should probably just keep clicking Calm Mind until they make me not anymore. I go back to Ogre Pawn. Okay, the Ninetales isn't on the field anymore. Drifblim doesn't have an attack, so there's not much left to do with it except sack it. I can get a Will-O-Wisp into something, not Ogre Pawn, and all their other stuff are special attackers, but residual damage is still kind of nice. They Terrafire the Ogre Pawn, makes sense. Miss the Will-O-Wisp into Dialga, it's not that important. They miss Ivy Cudgel into Lugia. They knock out Drifblim with a Dragon Pulse. Alright, so Zamazenta will get one more kick at the can, but I can't Terrastalize it. And I threw away the Dauntless Shield boost. I'll go for an Earth Power into Ogre Pawn here. And protect Zamazenta. The Ivy Cudgel Lugia, they connect. It doesn't do too much to multi-scale. Earth Power doesn't KO. So be it. The Blizzard Smeargle, or the Blizzard Smeargle, the Spite Smeargle might actually have come in handy here. Or clicking Spore with it. They don't have a Grass type anymore. And they didn't bring Mirrorite on. Let's just get this Ogre Pawn out of here. Spiky Shield, that's fine. That gives Zamazenta an opening to attack Dialga for a lot of damage. They miss a Dragon Pulse into Lugia. Now I can protect Zamazenta again. I'm looking to knock out the Ogre Pawn. If they switch it out, at least it's not pressuring Zamazenta anymore, but they don't. They land an Ivy Cudgel into Lugia. It does a lot of damage. But they miss the follow-up Blizzard. But once they get Ninetales back on the field, their Blizzards won't miss anymore. So let's protect Lugia here and Body Press Dialga. Okay. I guess I could have let them lock me into Earth Power. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Of course, then they could disable. But now I think I'm just going to Aeroblast Ninetales and Body Press Bundle. They Blizzard. Doesn't do too much. They freeze Zamazenta. Lugia is locked into Protect. I think this is okay as long as they don't crit me. But of course, they always could do that. Get Aurora Veil back up. Zamazenta stays frozen. Riveting gameplay, I'm sure. I get the double protect. Nice. Still frozen. Lugia's getting some nice recovery at least. Encore ends. They can Encore me again. But like they're running down their Blizzard PP. They already don't have a whole lot left. And I get another protect here. They really shouldn't be clicking Blizzard, at least on the guaranteed protect, but let's see what they do. Also, their snow is over, and they can't switch Ninetales out anymore. So the Blizzard isn't a guaranteed hit. In fact, it's pretty inaccurate now. Icy Wind, yeah. Save the PP, makes sense. It actually crits Zamazenta. He's trying to Lugia. Zamazenta has stayed frozen for quite a while now. They land Icy Wind. They Moonblast Zamazenta at KOs, okay. Encore is over, they can Encore me again. Do I actually lose to Struggle now? Because Zamazenta spent all those turns frozen, by the way, it had so many chances to knock out the bundle. They Hydro Pump. They miss Encore, okay. Good. We get an Aeroblast into bundle, and now we try to Aeroblast this Ninetales. They can disable it. So actually, maybe I should have clicked Earth Power. I'll click Earth Power next, after Ninetales survives with the Invisible Focus Sash. They miss a Freeze Dry. Alright, there we go. +4 evasiveness Lugia, pulling that one back in the late game. That's what I'm talking about, I suppose. Solid work by Drifblim. Almost failing to get the baton pass off, but pulling it off just in the nick of time. And the wide guard Zamazenta came in handy there too. I kind of just threw Zamazenta in because it's strong, tanky, fighting type restricted, but the wide guard actually kind of saved the game there. Anybody else playing Reg J right now? Oh, Scraggy, nice. Ice Rider, Miraidon, Scraggy, Farigiraf, Iron Treads, and Iron Hands. I almost just called this guy Hariyama. This is Paldean Hariyama, of course. Okay, well... Ice Rider is actually pretty dangerous, right? Because I can just Glacial Lance around my Follow Me. That's a problem. That might be a reason to Terrastallize Drifblim in this game, but if I do that, then I can't Terrastallize Lugia, and... I'm weak to both their restricteds with that. I could lead Smeargle, but I can't Spore if they lead Miraidon. I could lead Zamazenta, but I don't get my Unburden if I do that. I'm going to lead Zamazenta and bring in DD in the back. Looking to switch it in if I don't see the Ice Rider immediately. And I don't see the Ice Rider immediately, so I will switch in DD in. I guess I'll just protect Drifblim this turn because the Miraidon is super threatening, even without Hadron Engine. But then I can click Follow Me after that. If they set Trick Room and then pivot the Ice Rider in, I'm probably kind of cooked, though. Well, this was never going to be a foolproof game plan, but let's see what we can do. I hear music somewhere in my building. You probably can't hear that, but maybe you can. Oh, they DC'd for a moment. I didn't even notice. Electro Drift into Drifblim. Psychic into Indeedee. That's fine. Minimize Follow Me. I'm still pretty scared of the Farigiraf clicking Trick Room. Maybe I actually want Imprison and Trick Room on Indeedee. I didn't think it mattered, but now that I actually see an Ice Rider Calyrex in this matchup, I think it might matter. I could drop Helping Hand, because I'm probably never clicking that, and I could drop Protect on Indeedee. I think I'll do that after this game. Alright, they can knock out Indeedee, and then Miraidon is free to threaten Drifblim, so I'm going to click the Baton Pass here, even though it's only +2 evasiveness. Bit unfortunate, but what can you do? Hope they missed the Electro Drift. They switch! Okay. Alright, they tried to get me with the Calyrex. Thankfully, I was too afraid of it to overlook that. Now I get Lugia in, only with +2 evasiveness, but better than nothing, and I get Zamazenta in as well. And I'm going to Terra Electric, Calm Mind, Body Press. I could Wide Guard. I could Wide Guard and not Terra. Right, and then Lugia keeps the immunity to high horsepower. Am I then just letting... Then I'm just letting them high horsepower Zamazenta until it faints, and then I'm out of Pokemon. That could matter later, so I'm going to do the first thing I said. Helping Hand, they high horsepower Zamazenta immediately. And Body Press doesn't do a whole lot. I'll go for another Calm Mind and I'll protect Zamazenta here. And then I think I can think about sacking Drifblim. Although Zamazenta is not doing a ton. I'm kind of just all in on Lugia to 1v4 this at this point. It's that kind of team. Yeah, I didn't properly think about Ice Rider in the builder, because that is another thing that I make myself weak to with the Terra Electric Lugia. Maybe I do want Terra Water after all. Or just the classic Terra Fairy. I just don't like being weak to Heavy Slam, but I have other things for Zamazenta on the team, in theory. Okay. I'll switch to Drifblim here, and I'll also go for an Aeroblast into Calyrex. Don't know how much that'll do at only +2, but damage is good, especially with Trick Room ending here. I thought they might go for a Glacial Lance to catch me on that switch, but they didn't. And it's in range of another Aeroblast. They can protect it in Trick Room here, so let's actually Aeroblast the Farigiraf. And Will-O-Wisp the Calyrex in case it doesn't protect. It does protect. We crit the Farigiraf with that boosted Aeroblast crit rate, but yeah, at only +2 it doesn't KO. Let's see if I can take out the Calyrex now. Might as well preserve Drifblim. No need to sack it immediately when I can sack it later. They land, Glacial Lance into Lugia, doesn't do too much through multi-scale, we take out the Calyrex. Okay. There's still Miraidon, but this is where Terra Electric really comes in handy. Terra Electric is probably okay. I'm not going to change it right now. I do think I'll make the changes to Indeedee. Okay. They get Scraggy in. I'll Protect and click Will-O-Wisp into Scraggy. Just to, like, weaken any kind of foul play damage or something that it tries to throw off. Yeah, there's foul play into Drifblim. Psychic from Farigiraf into Lugia. We burn the Scraggy. I am down to... I was going to say we'll go for a KO into Farigiraf, but actually, I'll attack Scraggy. I'll go for Calm Mind. If this has foul play, it probably doesn't have knock off. Is that true? What do they run? Like coaching, foul play? I don't remember. I just don't want Lugia to get knocked off. I'll Aeroblast Scraggy. You know what? I'll click minimize with Drifblim. Make it that much harder for them to remove it. They just foul play Drifblim again. They double into it with Psychic. Take out Scraggy. I was thinking I could use more Calm Minds before Miraidon gets back on the field, and that's probably true. Just kind of opened my mind to the possibilities of what Scraggy can do. I can now get another Calm Mind before Miraidon moves because the Trick Room is still up. I'll just keep clicking minimize with Drifblim. See how long it takes him to remove it. They Terra Fairy, they're going for Dazzling Gleam. Makes sense. Lugia resists the Electric Dab. Drifblim doesn't have Unburden active, so it's slower than Miraidon. They still landed a Dazzling Gleam into it, though. But actually, I just win with Wide Guard and attacking Farigiraf now. Actually, they might be able to take Zamazenta out with a Psychic. But at least get the Wide Guard for this turn. And then I don't think Miraidon beats Lugia after this. A Helping Hand. Yeah, letting me keep Zamazenta while Farigiraf goes down means I just get Wide Guard forever and this game is guaranteed now. They forfeit. Nice. I'm going to make the change that I said to Indeedee. So, Trick Room, or let's do Imprison first. Oh, I don't have Protect, I have Psychic. I think I still want Psychic, so I'll drop Heal Pulse. Trick Room, Imprison. Okay. I don't usually run any Pokemon with no attacks, so the fact that I have that on Drifblim already is a little much. No wonder I put Psychic on Indeedee. Serperior, Urshifu, Whimsicott, Zamazenta, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, and Incineroar. What are they doing with that Serperior? Well, I see no reason to deviate. I could bring the Scarf Smeargle to this one, but I don't think I need to deviate from anything here. Let's just bring the usual group. They lead Incineroar under Shifu. They can't fake out Drifblim. They can knock off and Surging Strike, but of course I can redirect those. I'm running Safety Goggles in DD. I like Rocky Helmet in DD, but I'm running Safety Goggles because I don't want to let Indeedee get spored and have the opponent be able to attack the partner before they've gotten rid of Indeedee. But this is a position where Rocky Helmet probably would have been nice. I do think Safety Goggles is a little bit better on this team, though. Actually, just click U-turn with Urshifu. Doesn't do too much into physically bulky Indeedee. They knock off with a KO. I'll get Zamazenta here. I think I'm down to Wide Guard and Minimize. I don't think Incineroar knockoff into no-item Drifblim is that threatening immediately right now. They actually just switched the Calyrex out. They probably saw the knockoff coming. They could Will-O-Wisp Zamazenta, but this team is pretty much all about winning with Lugia anyway. They miss a knockoff. I'll get another Minimize here. I think this is the first game where I'm boosting up all the way. Heavy Slam. Oh. That's why I have all those answers to Zamazenta built into the team. Alright, I completely threw that one. They said thank God. Yeah. Yeah, I just completely misplayed. Thank God for my opponent's point of view for that. Maybe Lugia can still win now that I've knocked out the Incineroar. But that was the worst Drifblim gameplay you've probably seen in quite some time. I feel like I'm a little bit red in the face right now. Good thing I don't do face cam, huh? Keep setting up. And heavy slam this. The U-turn Lugia. Break multi-scale. Ah. I think I said I was clicking heavy slam, but I actually clicked body press, but it doesn't matter. Their Zamazenta's faster than mine. Do I Terra Electric? They don't really have anything that threatens it. And they do have something that threatens Psychic type, so yeah, might as well. And then... I don't think Lugia is... Oh! I clicked cancel and undid the Terra. Just an awful game all around here. By me, I mean. My play is bad. Now I'm going to want to Terrasilize. Let's protect first. Ooh. Did they set up with Nasty Plot Calyrex? Yeah, they do. Probably has a Focus Sash too. Doesn't need it. Lugia is just not very strong when it's supposed to be dodging attacks and also turbo bulky. What do I need to survive Astral Barrage? I'm actually out of range right now. Just the one protect is enough for Lugia to just barely survive. We'll go Earth Power for the accuracy. And never mind. They clicked Heavy Slam earlier, that's why. I was in body press range. Alright, that is the worst game I've played on recording in a while. Hopefully that's out of my system now. Let's keep going. Lunala, Indeedee, Regieleki, Magearna. Oh, it's Explosion Regieleki, isn't it? Ursaluna and Incineroar. Explosion Regieleki, pretty scary, but... Drifblim is immune, that's something. And I can imprison their Trick Room if they just go for that right away. Now that I have that option. I could bring Rillaboom. That gives me more of a threat into Ursaluna and Lunala than bringing Zamazenta does. Well, with Ursaluna it depends on whether Trick Room is up or not. I'll stick with Zamazenta. Get Lunala and Indeedee. This is pretty threatening because... they can Moongeist Beam Drifblim. I don't think they do that turn 1. It's a little bit risky, but I'm just going to minimize and imprison, and I can worry about clicking Follow Me next turn. Yep, called that right. Now I can Follow Me, get another minimize. There shouldn't be much that these two Pokemon can do in this position. I mean, Lunala can do some damage to Indeedee, although not if it clicks Moongeist Beam. They do have Meteor Beam, yeah, that would be super effective into Drifblim. And Indeedee's not immune to it. They missed Dazzling Gleam into Drifblim. I still get one more Follow Me here. I'll minimize as well. But they will be able to set Trick Room up after this, but not before I get the Baton Pass. Expanding Force picks up... unless they... Actually, don't know if they clicked Trick Room with Indeedee whether it would have worked because my Indeedee fainted first. I don't know that interaction. But I get full evasiveness now, and this time I will actually be able to Baton Pass it out to Lugia. And I'll just go for Body Press into their Indeedee. They can pretty obviously Follow Me there. And I've preserved the Terra to be able to use on Lugia. They could try to Moongeist Beam it this turn, but they don't. They Trick Room. So I'll Terra Electric, Calm Mind, keep attacking Indeedee. I guess I could have clicked Wide Guard because I knew the Expanding Force was coming. Zamazenta takes a lot of damage there, but hey, getting a KO before Zamazenta goes down is not the worst thing. Also, Psychic Terrain is now over. Both Indeedee have fainted. I don't think they'll be able to bring it back. Ursaluna's here. Ursaluna is super scary for my Lugia, but given that I have 2 ground weaknesses on the field, I'm going to protect this turn, but if they go for Earthquake, I can think about clicking Wide Guard next turn. It's Headlong Rush into Lugia. It could miss. It could definitely miss. I'm just going to count on that. I'm going to Aeroblast and Body Press Ursaluna. They Headlong Rush Lugia. They miss. Expanding Force takes out Zamazenta. I will not get the body press, unfortunately. Aeroblast does less than half to Ursaluna. This is the problem with running Lugia. I could burn Ursaluna, but just kidding, it's already burned. And also, that actually benefits it. So let's just protect. I could Will-O-Wisp Blue Nala to break Shadow Shield. I don't really think it matters. I'll just click minimize with Drifblim. Actually, the burn damage will help into Ursaluna here. The problem is they can just protect Ursaluna and set Trick Room back up. I'm going to go for Calm Mind, actually. I'm going to be annoyed if I turn down a chance to attack Ursaluna here, which it seems I have done. But Headlong Rush doesn't quite KO through Multiscale. I mean, if they'll let me attack Ursaluna, I should be able to knock it out now. I didn't think they would let me, but they do, once again. I feel like that was their win con right there. Magearna's here. Magearna only coming in the late game when there's only one possible Soul Heart boost still available, and I don't have to give it to them, I don't think. Protect this turn. Moongeist Beam PP wearing down. They do still have Expanding Force. I'll keep Calm Minding. They could crit me. They certainly could, but they have to hit to do that. Miss. I have sound playing from another tab. I don't think you can hear that, but that was pretty weird. Forgot I had that open. Now Showdown's displaying weirdly for me. Don't think you can see that either. You don't know what I'm dealing with right now. But I think I can click another Calm Mind here. I don't know why they're going for Flash Cannon when Lugia is an electric type, but I'll just protect for a little bit of recovery here. And then Earth Power Magearna. Might have to get this image of a fully set up Lugia into the thumbnail somehow. We'll see. Air Blast. That's into Shadow Shield, so the next one should KO. GG. Alright, yeah, that was a decent recovery from the last game. I guess it helped that this opponent didn't have a Zamazenta, although I don't think I would have made the same mistake twice in a row like that. Not that I haven't repeated mistakes in videos before, but that one was, that would have been really something. Are they going to take maximum time this turn? No. The Terra Fairy. Okay. Well, GG. If that Ursaluna had landed a second Headlong Rush, I mean, I did what I could to make it not happen, but if it ever had, then could have knocked out Lugia. Alright, we got Rain. We got Basculegion. Basculegion is so scary. Basculegion Kyogre is so scary. Wait, how do I beat this? Because, like, if they just lead with those two, I mean, I also could lead Iron Jugulus, and that's super scary too. But if they just lead with those two, then what? I redirect Basculegion, and I just hope that Kyogre misses? Yeah, this is a this matchup is not very promising, but I'll do what I can. I'll bring Rillaboom to this one. I can threaten the water types later on. Of course, I haven't led with it. They actually lead with a restricted duo. If I'd led Zamazenta, I'd have Wide Guard here, and that would be super good. Instead, I just have to hope they miss. And I'll click Imprison in case they try to Trick Room. They do miss the Water Spout into Drifblim. They just go straight for Glacial Lance and they KO both my Pokemon. Alright. Yeah, well, in a format like this, with a team like this was going to happen sometimes. I don't think Lugia can pull this one back. I'll try. I'll Terra Electric and Calm Mind. Not Terrasolizing Rillaboom lets Calyrex just have another free KO, but this Kyogre has Protect, It's not running a choice item like some of them do. Oh well. Yeah, there's probably no way I ever beat the Calyrex now, but I'll try. Terragrass. Of course, a lot of them run Terragrass. Probably most. Glacial Lance picks up at least 1 KO here. Only 1. You know, say what you want about Lugia, there's no denying that bulk. But it's not going to hit back hard enough. Alright, quick game. We'll get another one. What if I brought Smeargle to that game? I wouldn't be able to Spore the Kyogre once it's Terastallized, but Lugia can set up on the Kyogre. Maybe I needed Smeargle there instead of Rillaboom. It's an interesting thought. That would have stopped the Calyrex. Alright, Kyogre, Zacian, Urshifu, Amoonguss, Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao is Zacian with Tornadus. Well, the good thing about Chien-Pao and Zacian is they don't have spread moves. The other good thing is they're threatened by Zamazenta. It might be worth leading. No, I need the Indeedee, don't I? Man, okay. Maybe I dodge another Water Spout here. It could happen. Chien-Pao Tornadus, so I don't have to dodge a Water Spout immediately. I do have to watch out for Bleak Windstorm, especially if that gets a speed drop. I can redirect Chien-Pao. It might run Ice Spinner. I think a lot of them run Ice Spinner now, so that might get rid of my Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain is not that important now that I've already activated the Psychic Seed, so I'll just minimize and follow me. Honestly, Unburden Drifblim has kind of felt like a double-edged sword this video, because if I didn't have Unburden, I could benefit from setting my own Trick Room sometimes. They tried to taunt Indeedee while the terrain was still up, so I do still get to use another Follow Me here. Indeedee is not KO'd. They don't go for taunt this time, but they do knock out Indeedee with that Bleak Windstorm. They also get a speed drop. I think I just Baton Pass now, instead of waiting for one more boost. I'll Body Press the Chien-Pao, Terra Ghost. Fair enough. They miss a taunt. But they land an Ice Spinner. Oh, they landed an Ice Spinner into Drifblim. That's unfortunate for me. Alright, well, Lugia, you're going to have to try to set up without any evasiveness boosts. Oh, but they can taunt Lugia. This Torn has been here too long. Yeah, they taunt Lugia. I think it's GG. Well, once that taunt wears off, they probably don't have another one. Urshifu is here, though. Looking to crit Lugia. Let's try to pressure that, too, so it only gets to do that once, or rather 3 times. This one turn. Even without any boosts, I doubt it takes an Aeroblast super well. That's the silver lining. Also, that Surgic Strikes, those Surgic Strikes crits are not doing that much to Lugia. That is the Pokemon that competitive players used to call the Great Wall, right there. Getting the KO with the Aeroblast. They also haven't done any damage to Zamazenta. What's their last Pokemon? Is it Kyogre? It is Kyogre. Do I lose to Kyogre? Well, here's the thing, right? If I just get a Body Press into Kyogre, what is Zamazenta ever doing to, or what is Chien-Pao ever doing to Zamazenta? There's a reason. Oh, I got the Aeroblast too. Wait, Lugia is so good. It survives the Sucker Punch. It gets the KO to Kyogre. All these double up, Lugia in all these double ups is just grabbing the KOs that Zamazenta doesn't quite get. They had Sacred Sword on Chien-Pao the whole time. Here I was wondering what threat it could possibly pose to Zamazenta. I mean, it still did less than half. I'm gonna go Earth Power for the accuracy. And we should actually win the game here, even though Drifblim got wiped out by the Chien-Pao. It wasn't able to wipe out Zamazenta. Alright, not a great Drifblim showcase, but the team worked that game. Lugia getting just enough on those unboosted Aeroblasts after Zamazenta did most of the work, damaging the opponent. Here we get hard Trick Room with Ice Rider, Calyrex, Ursaluna, Incineroar, Indeedee, hiding behind Lunala. Lunala is here as well, and so is Amoonguss. We're going to do the Imprison lead. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. As usual. Have not brought Smeargle to a single game. Somebody watching probably saw the Smeargle in the paste and thought that was going to make some ladder opponents very upset. And maybe it will. The video's not over yet, but haven't brought it to a game yet. There's one where maybe I should have. Okay, Indeedee, Incineroar. Okay, well, they can't fake out. Again, I'm not too worried about knockoff into no item Drifblim. Not that worried about Parting Shot either, because I can click Calm Mind with Lugia after a Baton Pass. So I'm just going to minimize and Imprison. This is a hard Trick Room team. I imagine their Indeedee probably wants to click Trick Room. I went for Psychic. Okay, Parting Shot into my Indeedee, that's fine. And because Imprison targets the user, they brought Ursaluna in anyway, not Calyrex or Lunala, but nothing can click Trick Room until they've knocked out my Indeedee. Drifblim isn't afraid of Ursaluna at all, unless it's running Shadow Claw, which is not unheard of, but pretty rare, so... I'm actually going to click Psychic into Ursaluna here. I would like to get some damage on that if I can. Because Ursaluna is pretty scary. To Lugia, right. I'd probably like to Terra Electric to resist the Glacial Lance, but I can't very well do that while Ursaluna is still a menace. I'm going to go for the last Minimize, and I'm going to Wide Guard. I immediately thought differently about that play. It's okay, though, because I can, even after they set Trick Room, I can Wide Guard again and Baton Pass. And these Pokemon shouldn't have anything they can do to threaten Drifblim. If it's Leech Seed Calyrex, that would be pretty annoying, because I believe Baton Pass would give the Leech Seed to Lugia. Headlong Rush wipes out Zamazenta. The Wide Guard will still be in effect for the rest of this turn. But do get the Baton Pass, but... this is going to be a tough one for Lugia to solo, but not impossible. I'll start with an Aeroblast into Earth. Maybe I should start with a Protect. I'll start by clicking Protect on both of my Pokemon. Then I'm thinking Aeroblast into Ursaluna and Will-O-Wisp into Calyrex, although Drifblim probably just gets KO'd before the Will-O-Wisp can go off. Ursaluna has lowered its defenses and is taking burn damage. If I remove it, then I'm a lot safer to Terastallize Lugia. And in the meantime, they could miss Glacial Lance into Lugia. They land Facade. They break Multiscale. They miss Glacial Lance into Lugia. Aeroblast doesn't KO, but it's close enough. It's not really close enough. Protect. They switch Ursaluna out. Okay. I'm Terastallizing Lugia here. They miss Parting Shot. That's really funny. The Incineroar is stuck on the field. They also miss Glacial Lance. Lugia is just not threatening enough damage. I'll keep clicking Calm Mind for now. It is +1 Glacial Lance, though. Pretty scary. They miss Parting Shot again. That's really funny whenever they miss Parting Shot. Alright, Lugia's in Glacial Lance range. Let's hope they don't hit one. That doesn't do enough damage. They missed this Glacial Lance. With another Protect, I can get out of range. But yeah, it's, these Lugia 1v4s are, needless to say, really dicey. I also don't want to let Lugia get burned and lose my recovery, so I'm actually going to click Earth Power into Incineroar this time. They went for a double Protect with Calyrex, I didn't get it. Earth Power does laughable damage, but they miss a Flare Blitz with Incineroar. I think I'm going to call that they see an opening to attack here, so I'm going to Aeroblast the Calyrex instead of attacking Incineroar again. I crit, but it doesn't quite KO. They miss Flare Blitz. They land Glacial Lance. Lugia just barely hangs on. I'm going to Earth Power the Calyrex and try to deny a Trick Room, because if they set Trick Room, they miss the Flare Blitz. Okay. My poor opponent wrote please in the chat, and I cannot blame them. I don't have any damage on Indeedee, but they actually bring Ursaluna in here. I'm going to click Earth Power into that. No way is Lugia ever taking a Headlong Rush. They miss another Flare Blitz. I'm on the edge of my seat here, figuratively. I am leaning forward for sure. I'll go for the Aeroblast into Incineroar if they let me. They follow me. The game ended. I think they landed an attack. So close. Opponent wrote yes in the chat. So close. Fell just short at the end. Yeah, there's a bit of a ceiling with evasiveness strats, but we got some wins here. Even sometimes when the baton pass didn't work out. What was the roll on Flare Blitz? Did we ever find out? I just kind of figured Lugia could probably take it even at low HP like that. Well, what can you do? It was a silly team. And it will probably not be the only silly team in this year's Ghost Month. In fact, I think it will be mostly silly teams. So I hope you like those, because that's what you're in for. That was Drifblim. An ordinary, early game, not especially strong Pokemon. It certainly has some unique and memorable things that it can do in competitive play. But like I said, we're going to work our way up to legendaries and mythicals and all that nice stuff that Reg J has to offer. See you over the next 4 weeks. You know what? Let's bring the Smeargle to a game just once before we call it. If Showdown will cooperate. There we go. Just one Smeargle game. This looks like a good Smeargle game. Maybe I can Spore the Annihilate before it does its thing. Or, you know, Drifblim is immune to Final Gambit. Maybe I Spore the Magearna. I think that makes more sense, actually. That means not bringing in DD to this one, but it's hard Trick Room, so I don't think I need the Unburden anyway. Honestly, I don't think Unburden was that good in this specific video. Okay, Ape, Magearna. Minimize, Spore Magearna. U-turn. They didn't go for Final Gambit. I guess almost every Smeargle runs Sash, so they didn't think Final Gambit would KO. They thought this would be Sash Smeargle as well, but this is perfect. We should deny Trick Room with this Spore. I'll Spore the Calyrex slot and go for another Minimize. Terragrass. Aw. Somehow these horses always seem to have just the right Terra type. Alright, well, Smeargle is locked into Spore. I'm not messing around. I'm just clicking Baton Pass right now. And honestly, I think I'll hard switch Smeargle out to Zamazenta, so I have the option to quickly Jungle Healing or something later. They miss Glacial Lance into Drifblim. Magearna wakes up. Misses Flash Cannon into Drifblim. I get Lugia in. I can Terra Electric. Start Calm Minding. I can... Body Press the horse? Body Press Magearna. That's a super threatening mon. It's Leech Seed horse. Okay. Landing Leech Seed into Lugia would be pretty bad. Actually, I think maybe I do want to be attacking the horse right now. I'm only at +1, but it could still take a bit from an Aeroblast, especially if it crits. It does give them Soul Heart. They go Annihilate. They go Annihilate now. They land a Leech Seed. They go Annihilate now. When there's still another turn of Trick Room after this. Interesting. I am down to try to Aeroblast this Ape. And weaken any possible Final Gambit. And Body Press the horse. Protect. Aeroblast. Does 85%. Not bad. And they went for Final Gambit in their own Trick Room. Yeah, I don't think that was the play. The Calyrex is a giant threat, though, because it got... You know, I don't ever really want to switch Lugia out, and they got Leech Seed into it. They go Magearna here. They did just protect Calyrex, so I'm going to double target it. They could switch, but then the damage goes into something else. It's not the end of the world. Aeroblast will KO here if it hits, which it does. They do still have the Leech Seed, though. Healing whatever Pokemon comes in, and it's this guy. Uh-oh. And I can't protect... Or, I mean, I can't protect Zamazenta. I can't Terrastalize Zamazenta. What I can do is Wide Guard and Earth Power Torkoal. Nice, we stopped the Eruption. And a Dazzling Gleam. Big damage into Torkoal. It does get healed by the Leech Seed, but I'm I'm stepping on the gas here. I'm looking to knock out the Magirna now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore in the end game. Just click wide guard again. Torkoal looking to get healthy. Wide guard stops Dazzling Gleam. We knock out Magirna. And it's just Torkoal left. They could have like Flamethrower or Weather Ball, but I think wide guard Earth Power is fine here. They do have Weather Ball. They actually hit Lugia with it, but +1 special defense, and it's a Lugia. Takes that no problem. There we go. I'm glad I played one more game. The Smeargle did one thing that game, but it did that one thing really well. Actually, it did two things. It scared off the Annihilate because they all surely assumed that it was Sash Smeargle and didn't click Final Gambit into it. And then I got to Spore the Magirna. That was a fun game. I'm glad I tacked on one more. But now this is actually done, and I'll see you next time.